Kris, I know it's your first go around as a coach at this level in the playoffs, but do you ever, like, after last night, Connor and Leon moved, tied for second all time in points per game in the playoffs to Wayne Gretzky. We just sort of shake your head at that for a second and think that you're talking about a couple guys that are, sort of in the Gretzky Lemieux era in terms of numbers wise here in the playoffs with what they've done, and you've already seen in this series.
Yeah, it's remarkable to be mentioned with those two players that you mentioned, Lemieux and Gretzky, and then also to doing it now where scoring is a lot tighter, and for them to show up and play as well as they have in the playoffs, it's it's quite significant. It's not a overstatement to say that is remarkable, and so many players get a bad rep of, oh yeah, they do it in the regular season, but when things are tough and the checking's harder and there's not as much space, they fade away. But those two just elevated their play in the playoffs.
What do you, as a coach who gives his team today off, what goes into that? Like, in the old days, you just practiced all the time. Now coaches love to give more days off. How do you weigh the options when you make that decision?
Yeah, we were discussing this even before the game and how things are going to go and what the plan was. And I think win or loss, we were going to give them the day off of not practicing. We were going to be on the ice one more time before Game 4, and that was either today or tomorrow morning. We felt that Game 3 went really well for us. We traveled, we didn't practice, we had a pregame skate, and we liked that rhythm. We'll try and follow that up.
Kris, you said after Game 1, in terms of you guys being able to get rush chances, that you did okay, but it was the way you got them was a lot of capitalizing on their line changes and broken plays and stuff like that. It seemed like you took even a bigger step forward in Game 3. Did you feel that way, and how were you able to do that?
Yeah, we got to be careful of, we are a rush team. We like to score off the rush, with our speed and playmaking guys that we have, that we want to do that. But we don't want to be in create trouble for us. Turnovers and feeding their attack, their counter rush. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job of that on when there's a play to be made. We've been doing it, and when it hasn't, we've been dumping and chasing. And, I think the guys have been really responsible in making those decisions.
Three games into coaching in the playoffs, the NHL playoffs for you, and what's different? Does it feel different?
It absolutely does feel different. The stress and the amount of decisions that, or thought that goes into every decision, and what's the outcome is, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed it, and we've got a great group to work with and supporting me, whether it's the players that we have and the coaching staff. But there just seems to be there's a lot on the line, but this is why we enjoy doing this.
Kris, over the last 2 years between these two teams, the series has been tied after 4 games. This is a chance for you to kind of break that trend. What do you think it's going to take? What's the difference in, you guys, having won the first game, didn't get the second one? What's the difference in getting 2 in a row?
I think our first period. I think the games that we've won, we've had a strong first period. And the game that we lost, I thought we put in a pretty solid 40 minutes, but it was just too big of a hole to overcome, and that we were down 3-1 after the first, and I think we need a really strong start, especially playing in their building where they played really well this past second half of the year. We need to make sure that we're ready from the start.
Game 4s are always pivotal, right? It's either this is going to be a long series, or you would have a chance to make it a shorter one. Your experience in all your years coaching, what happens in a game like tomorrow? They're more desperate. You guys aren't.
Just trying to regain our play that we had in Game 1 and Game 3. We can't, there's things that we're going to alter to our game plan, but we're just trying to maximize our effort as much as possible and playing very similar to the way we played in Game 3, and not letting up. And you know that they're going to have a stronger push. It's a very pivotal game for them, but we can't control how they're going to play. We just got to make sure that we're ready.
Just a question on a bit of a different topic. Spec mentioned that Nylander is playing tonight, and that situation is full of secrecy. Like, why do you think the NHL is full of secrecy? In other leagues, teams have to divulge all this information about injuries and so forth. Why do you think the NHL is different?
Don't tell them anything.
I can't speak. I don't know what the other leagues are like. I just know when a player has an injury, you don't want the other team to know that there's a weakness or maybe that he's not 100%. And so I think just when we hit playoff time, it's usually the stakes are so high, and it is a physical game. There's hitting and there's all that contact. So I just think it's important to try and protect your players as much as possible and not releasing that information. I think it's just best.
What about the second guessing on the starting goalie? In the same vein of sort of being secretive, why do you think that's such a thing?
I know our team does a pre-scout on the opposition goalie, and we have things that we like to target at. I guess the more time you give the opposition to prepare for that, it helps them. And you're looking at, from game to game, it's from winning and losing, it's a very slim margins. So if you're looking to erase all the advantages for the other team, that's one of them also.
Kris, given how well you guys have played in this series and the scoreline, 2-1 advantage that you have, it makes sense why you've kept the same lineup. But you have a couple of guys, Derek Ryan and Connor Brown, that have played a lot for you this year and played pretty key roles. How do you envision kind of getting those guys in at some point, whether this series or the
It is hard. There's two guys that have played very well for us, especially the past month or 2 months. Those two have been, to make the lineup changes. They have been in consideration, but we're going to have injuries. There's going to be times that we have the opportunity to move them in, but for his coaching staff, it has been difficult not to play them.